If you're trying to secure profitable U.S. government contracts, there is a method, there is a series of hacks you need to really implement this year to actually, hopefully get your multi-million dollar revenue from the government. And again, I'm here talking about government contracts at the federal level, but also at the state level. Okay, so this includes states, local, like city level or county level. Okay, now how do you win government contracts in the first place? The thing is that you have to understand that the government has billions of dollars in procurement needs every single year. But you got to have the right solution at the right time with the right connection if you have to really if you want to stand a chance of winning those contracts. When I'm talking about connections, I'm talking about you possibly having relationships with the SBA, with the Small Business Administration, or affiliated institutions. For instance, you might want to be certified by the SBA or an affiliate institution. You might want to be part of your local small business, let's say a chamber of commerce. Because if you want to win U.S. government contracts, it's not just about going to sam.gov and applying for the contract there. No, you got to really. There is actually a long list of relationship building processes that actually come before. So in today's conversation, I want to really talk to you about those relationship building, let's say, processes. Okay, if you want to win government contracts, you have to do your research and know your strengths. This is a government contracts account for nearly $1 trillion every single year. So it's a very competitive market, not only from big players such as Boeing and the like, but also from smaller players. Okay, so the way you actually can leverage your competitive edge is if you are able to maximize your potential by knowing where to find opportunities. You can't just look everywhere. You got to look in specific areas. You also got to take the necessary steps to craft a winning proposal that's actually airtight and has the best chance of securing the contract or contract you bid on. Avoid actually falling into a common pitfall such as bidding on too many contracts or underestimating, for instance, your competition. Let me first talk to you about how to really get contracts. Okay, let's talk about getting contracts. But before that, I want you to really understand that if you want to take advantage of contract management software, that could be a good opportunity because sometimes you might want to automate the whole contract bidding process, especially if you bid on multiple contracts every single year. So getting contracts, let's talk about how to get government contracts this year. Again, I want you to really remember that when I'm talking about government contracts, I'm speaking about federal, but also state level. Okay. So first of all, you need to understand the game. If you want to get government contracts, you need to understand the game. There is a game being played every single year, a game that's actually a pretty lucrative for those who understand how to really play it. Okay. So government contracting can feel like a complex puzzle at first, right? But you have to really have the right resources and you have to know the rules of the game. Because once you know the rules of the game, that will give you a competitive edge. Second, I think I've said this before, you got to know your strength. Don't just go in there randomly hoping to really secure a government contract. It doesn't happen that way because the field is so competitive at the federal level, but also at the state level, at the county level, at the city level, that you got to know your strengths. You got to know your forte. What are you bringing to the table? What are you doing better than your rival? You gotta have a clear idea about your pros and cons, especially your pros. Identify the types of contracts that align with your business capabilities and expertise. So, if you are a tech wizard, for instance, consider focusing on IT services and software development contracts. If you are a supplier of eco friendly products, seek out opportunities stemming from sustainability initiatives, right? You got to really niche down. That's what I call niching down. So whether it's supplying goods or offering services or even executing projects, focus on what you do best, okay? Remember, it's all about showcasing your unique skills to actually stand out from the crowd, right? And there's a large crowd here. And you also want to spread the word. If you want to really win government contracts, you got to spread the word, okay? Don't keep your government contracting ambitions a secret. Develop a targeted marketing strategy to let agencies and decision makers know about your business. That's what I was telling you a little earlier when I said you have to work on your relationship building. So you can do so through institutions such as the SBA, such as your local chamber of commerce. You also have other opportunities. Any opportunity for you to really spread the word, please do so. You want to attend industry events, conferences, and trade shows relevant to your sector. Okay. You want to strike up conversations, exchange business cards, and impress potential clients with your charm and expertise. And also take advantage of online platforms as well, such as LinkedIn and industry forums, to establish your presence and connect with key stakeholders. Now let's talk about where do you find contracting opportunities. If you are thinking about government contracts, there is a long list of platforms, a long list of conduits where you can actually find those contracting opportunities. Okay, first of all, you have government websites, and by government, I want you to really expand your universe. Think about it. I mean, when I when I speak about government websites, I'm speaking about government agencies, but I'm speaking about all those para-governmental agencies. In other words, government agencies that are not really actually overseen by the federal government, but they do work that can really fit into a public purpose. Okay, so you can explore websites like the Federal Business Opportunities Portal, where you will find a ton of open solicitations. Okay, and that's something that you have to really do on a consistent basis. You also can have specialized resources. You can take advantage, for instance, of specialized government contracting databases and resources that exist to make your life easier. Don't try to reinvent the wheel, right? You want to really use what's already has been created. Okay, these tools can help you uncover a wealth of opportunities that might otherwise remain hidden. So, besides government websites such as the sam.gov and the FBOP, okay, the FBO.gov, you also have industry publications. So you want to keep your ear to the ground with industry-specific publications and newsletters, and this often announce upcoming contracts and provide valuable insights. Okay, and you can also push your networking a little further. So you want to team up. You can consider teaming up with other businesses to pursue larger contracts or subcontracting opportunities. Okay, if you think about it, this can be very lucrative for both of you, for both organizations, because two heads are better than one when it comes to tackling big projects. Especially if this is your first time actually working on such a project, you want to really have the expertise. You want to have the know-how of another player, especially if that player has experience in that specific doing that specific kind of projects. So I've just explained to you how to get government contracts, right? And now let's talk about. I also explained to you where to find contracting opportunities. Now let's talk about how to bid on government contracts, and that's important because that's what's going to help you actually generate revenue in the long run. So the first thing you want to do is you want to fulfill government contractor requirements. So the government has a specific list of contractor requirements that you have to abide by. If you and they are very strict when it comes to like compliance. Okay, so before you dive into bidding for federal contracts, complete any necessary requirements to be officially recognized as a contractor or as a subcontractor. Okay, you can, for instance, you can sign up your business on government contracting websites like the SBA's DSBS tool to increase your visibility among procurement officers and government buyers. The thing is that those decision makers, they're constantly going to those websites to actually check out what's really happening on the market. And sometimes they might see something nice and they might actually reach out to you directly. Instead of you reaching out to them, they might actually reach out to you. Second, you want to really make sure to understand that you want to conduct market research, right? Don't rely solely on your stock knowledge when it comes to the federal contracting market. Conduct thorough market research before you start writing a government contract proposal. Gathering valuable information will guide you in crafting a relevant and effective bid proposal. So think of it as gathering intel before going into battle. Next, you want to be selective, and selective in the sense that you have to choose, you have to filter out those contracts where you don't have a competitive edge. So be selective in bidding. Avoid spreading yourself too thin by bidding on every contract opportunity you come across. Instead, what you want to do is you want to focus your energy on selecting federal contracts that align with your company's strengths and expertise. So you want to choose, for instance, you want to choose contracts that not only play to this, but also offer room for growth. Okay, it's like picking the perfect quest to actually showcase your skills and allow you actually to level up. And you want to really have that possibility. Next thing you want to do here is you want to carefully review the RFP documents. The thing is that government contracts usually have a RFP documents. It can be an RFP documents. It can be a RFI. It can be a RFQ. It really depends. Okay, but whatever documents comes with a contract, you want to really make sure that you review everything. So the request for proposal RFP posted by federal agencies is actually a crucial document that contains all the necessary project details to actually guide you in crafting your contract bid, right? And that's going to help you actually make sure that you are actually complying with the terms and conditions of the contract. So take the time to review all sections of the RFP, but pay special attention to the following key sections. So you have B, you have C, you have L, and you have M. B actually relates to supplies or services and price cost. You want to understand the required deliverables and the pricing structure the government agency plans to use for the project. Okay, this section will provide insight into how you'll be compensated. So this is important for you to really know how your revenue will be calculated. Okay, and then you have C, section C. This is the description or specification or a statement of work. So you want to focus on this section to understand the work expected from the contractor. So you want to highlight, for instance, how your company plans to execute the deliverables and stand out from the competition. This is what I was telling you a little earlier, your competitive edge, okay? You also have another important section I want you to pay attention to. That's actually the instructions, the conditions, and the notices to offerors. So this section outlines specific instructions on constructing your contract bid, including the document formatting and organization requirements. So every government agency at the federal or state level wants to have a certain formatting, let's say, process, and they want to stick to that simply because this allows them to really review documents real fast. Or maybe because their internal software, their own software, actually likes that format. So please also, you want to respect that format, okay? So it also includes relevant conditions, withdrawals, and policies of the federal contract. Next, you want to also pay attention to, sorry about that, you also want to pay attention to evaluation criteria. So pay attention to the criteria stated in this section because this will determine whether your proposal meets the agency's expectations. This provides insight into how each aspect will be scored and helps you understand the importance of each criterion. You got to be in that position to know exactly what works and what doesn't work, okay, especially in the long run. Next, you need to understand and follow the RFP instructions. I mean, this is so important because you want to make life easier for those document reviewer. If you want to really win government contracts, you want to pay attention to the decision makers, their intentions, but also making the whole process easier for them. So attention to detail is kind of crucial in the federal contracting industry. Why? It's a very, very competitive industry. you have thousands, if not millions, of small businesses actually competing every single year. So they don't have time to look into paperwork that doesn't comply with the regulation. Okay, so federal agencies closely scrutinize contract proposals to ensure they follow the specific instructions. So failure to comply with the directions outlined in the RFP's section L may result in your proposal actually being eliminated due to technicalities, and you do not want to be in that position. Okay, so carefully follow all instructions provided to actually increase your chances of success. You also want to draft an outline for your proposal. So this is important. You got to have an effective contract proposal that really has a good outline. Make sure your proposal addresses the goals of the projects. Okay. So highlight your company's strengths and demonstrate why your proposed solution is the most efficient and cost effective option. Those two qualities are important: efficiency and cost effectiveness. Okay. You want to list all the requested items in the proposal outline to ensure that you address every requirement specified in the RFP. And please, when it comes to pricing, be as competitive as possible, because you are actually bidding against thousands of other players out there, and you want to win the contract. You gotta reduce the cost. Okay, so find a comfortable price point that allows the venture to be profitable while remaining competitive with other contractors. And you also want to review your proposal, proofread it. You want to look for grammar, vocabulary, all that kind of stuff. Review your proposal a lot before submitting it, okay? Even the smallest mistake could cost you the entire deal. Consider asking a trusted person to review your proposal and see if he or she can spot any errors. A fresh set of eyes might actually catch things that you have missed throughout the process. And you also need to practice your patience, because after submitting your proposal, be patient and wait for the federal agency to respond. Response times can actually vary based on the complexity of the contract, typically ranging from 1 month to 4 months. Okay, make sure your lines of communication are open, because you just never know. In case there are any inquiries or clarifications needed on the agency's end, you want to be ready to answer all questions they might have for you. Let me give you a few mistakes to avoid here. If you are trying to win government contracts, understand that don't bid on every government contract available. That's the mistake number one. If you are stretching yourself too thin, that's going to be bad for you. Okay, don't try to really bid on every government contract that comes your way. It's actually kind of similar to embarking on a reckless shopping spree without considering your budget. So while the idea of winning a list of government contracts may seem enticing, it can lead to detrimental outcomes. Okay, so you want to focus instead on what? You want to focus on where you're good at. Focus your efforts on contracts that align with your expertise, capabilities, and business goals. Number two, do not underestimate your competition. Okay, it's one of those things where you are in a very competitive field, and you want to really take your rivals into account when it comes to crafting your solution, but also when it comes to setting your prices. And do not skim the request for proposal, please. You want to go as thoroughly as possible into the RFP document and make sure that you are following whatever instructions they have there for you. Also, make sure that you have a consistent formatting throughout the whole document, because your document will actually, once approved, your documents. Sorry about that. Your documents will be reviewed by several decision makers, several approvers, and you want to make sure that you have a consistent format across the board. And finally, actually make sure that you are addressing the agency's needs. Every agency has needs that are actually included in the contract document. Make sure that you clearly outline how you intend to fulfill the contract requirements. Imagine being at a foreign restaurant, excited to order your favorite dish, right? But when it's time to communicate your order, you stumble and mumble, leaving the server puzzled and unsure of what you really want. So make sure that you address the agency's needs in your proposal so that you can really leave. You do not want to leave evaluators actually confused and unimpressed, right? So it's one of those things where you have to really remember first impression always matters. First impressions always counts. So into this conversation, I just talked to you about how to really win government contracts. I spoke about getting contracts, how to get government contracts, where to find contracting opportunities, how to bid on government contracts, and the mistakes to avoid. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.